like a place where you have to be ready. Don't get ready. You got to be ready, right? I would layer things around me to prepare for different type of situations.
I got calls that he was in the airport, right?
Okay.
I mean, imagine that shit, right?
I like that.
I would know when you land. He was in the Ritz-Carlton, from what I hear.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't go well for him because he didn't do protocol.
Coming to LA since 204, 205, and like they ain't never check in to nobody.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Just go to their hotel and move militant.
But listen, when he tried pulling that move on 50 Cent, everything backfired instantly. Instead of backing down, 50 did what he always does. He laughed it off, mocked the situation, and flipped the whole narrative. Before anyone could react, J. Prince ended up being the joke. All right, let's get into this.
Why the got to check in, Mr. Prince? Mob ties?
I agree.
Nah, homie, take them restrictions and protocols off any. We don't owe y'all nothing.
Back in the 1980s, hold up, J. Prince was really building something major down south. Rap-A-Lot Records wasn't just any label, it was Houston's stamp of authority. If you were buzzing in southern hip-hop, especially out of Texas, you were probably crossing paths with Rap-A-Lot at some point. We're talking about influence that reached artists like Bun B, Pimp C, Z-Ro, and even Juvenile along the way. That wasn't small, that was power. But you already know how this goes, time doesn't wait on anybody. By the 2000s and moving forward, Rap-A-Lot didn't hit the same anymore. The dominance faded, the big records slowed up, and new stars weren't coming through like before. Meanwhile, the culture kept evolving, and it started leaving them behind. That's when people started asking a question that made things uncomfortable. If the music money isn't flowing like it used to, then where is it coming from? And yeah, this is where it starts getting messy, real messy. The rumors, they didn't just pop up, they got louder over time. Industry whispers kept repeating the same narrative again and again. Stories have been circulating for years now, and one word keeps popping up: extortion. Now let's be clear, nothing has been proven, but when talk stays consistent for that long, people start paying attention. From what's been said, there's allegedly been a system in place for years. Artists pulling up to Houston are expected to check in. And listen, not always out of respect, sometimes it feels like pressure. Now J. Prince himself has actually spoken on this checking in concept. He's even claimed he was pushing that idea before RICO cases became a thing in hip-hop. From his perspective, it's about respect, structure, and knowing who you're dealing with in certain cities. But depending on who you ask,
first time that I heard the word checking in, it was in relationship to Houston.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take the blame for that.
That same idea, yeah, it doesn't land the same for everyone. Some people see it as respect, but others look at it like a setup waiting to happen. And over time, a lot of stories started getting connected to it. Even big names. Yeah, Jay-Z's name got pulled into the conversation. According to J. Prince, there was a moment when things got a little tense between him and Jay-Z, and somehow he already knew exactly when Jay-Z was touching down in Houston. The story goes Jay-Z didn't check in, and because of that, his stay at the hotel didn't exactly go smoothly. Now that right there, that had people talking heavy.
That he was in the airport, right?
Okay.
I mean, imagine that shit, right?
I like that.
I would know when you land.
But not everyone moves by those rules, and that's exactly where 50 Cent comes in. Because if there's one person in hip-hop who's built a reputation on not backing down, it's him.
In the Ritz-Carlton, from what I hear. And it didn't go well for him because he didn't do protocol-wise.
Around 2019, when 50 Cent was in Houston for business and a public appearance, the chatter started again, people saying he was expected to check in. But instead of entertaining it, he did what he always does. He turned it into content. In a now-deleted post, he reportedly wrote something like, "I do not check in, I fly." And that alone was already loud. But he didn't stop there. He kept tossing subtle jabs in the direction of J. Prince and his circle. And here's where it gets interesting. No response came back. And for someone like J. Prince, that silence felt unusual. People noticed because he's not exactly known for ignoring public disrespect, especially not from someone as outspoken as 50 Cent. Then Tony Yayo jumped in and backed the stance from a different angle entirely. He made it clear G-Unit never operated on checking in anywhere, not LA, not Houston, nowhere. According to him, it wasn't about asking permission, it was about moving smart and staying protected. Proper security, awareness, and preparation, that was the system, not relying on local figures for safety. And honestly, that matches the way 50 Cent has always carried himself. His security presence has always been on another level. Even Wack 100 shared a story that made people pause and look at it differently.
With G-Unit, had a lot of drama, so had to move militant. Ain't just going to the mall and just going here with jewelry on and this and that, and you gotta move militant, bro.
He thought he was catching 50 Cent off guard, but that plan fell apart fast. At the time, Wack 100 was managing the game, so he was already right in the middle of that tension. According to Wack 100, he decided to pull up on 50 at a hotel in LA, expecting a straightforward face-to-face. He reportedly got word that 50 was at the SLS hotel, just posted up at the small bar inside. So he showed up with his crew, confident it would be a quick confrontation. But the moment they walked in, everything changed. The energy shifted immediately. And in that split second, Wack 100 realized this wasn't what he thought it was. 50 wasn't alone. He was sitting calm but surrounded by what looked like highly trained, serious security. Wack 100 even described them as looking like Navy SEAL type operators.
You got the drop on 50 Cent one time?
We thought we did.
Right.
We thought we did. Until we got in there.
Sharp, alert, watching everything, hands ready, formation tight. In that moment, it became obvious 50 wasn't slipping, not even a little. And this is where the story goes deeper than just a tense encounter, because 50 Cent's preparation isn't just about having people around him for show, it's strategy. People believe he moves with layers of awareness most don't even notice, always a step ahead, always getting information before things even reach him, so he's already positioned when they do.
We came in and shit. You had Navy SEALs with him. 2 in all directions. Probably about 6 of them. Guns strapped to their thigh. Bullies on them, semis on them, magazine cartridges. I said, yeah. He ain't slipping.
Almost like 50 set the whole thing up as a counter move from the start. Even Wack 100 later admitted it felt orchestrated, like 50 planned the entire energy just to send a message without saying a word. So if the idea was pressure, if the goal was to force a check-in moment, that strategy didn't land the way some people expected. And 50 Cent isn't even the only one who's refused to play into that kind of narrative around J. Prince. NBA Youngboy is another name that always comes up when people talk about it. Back in June 2020, his Houston home got broken into. But listen, this wasn't random. The way it played out made it feel like whoever did it already knew the space. They knew where things were, how the house was set up, even small personal details inside. And to make it even wilder, they recorded the entire break-in. On camera, they were walking through like they were documenting something big tied to Youngboy. But here's the twist. It didn't end up being the major hit people would assume. According to Youngboy, the actual loot was surprisingly minor. Just his cameraman's Gucci flip-flops and a small amount of cash.
And Youngboy taking his
That's what made the whole situation feel even more suspicious. Then things escalated in a way nobody really saw coming. After the break-in, the same group allegedly came back with a wild demand, $30,000 to return the stolen items. And listen, Youngboy wasn't having any of it. Instead, he jumped on Instagram and basically called their bluff, telling them to drop their location like it was nothing. And just like that, they vanished. But then, right when the tension started to die down, J. Prince suddenly entered the picture. Out of nowhere, he went public claiming he had recovered Youngboy's stolen property. He framed it like he stepped in as the fixer, like he cleaned everything up and brought closure to the situation. But instead of calming the conversation, it actually made people question the entire story even more.
Home, to make a long story short, I got your keys to your Rolls Royce, I got your keys to your McLaren, you know, all that they took.
To a lot of fans, it didn't feel like a rescue at all. It felt like something deeper was going on behind the scenes, like the situation might have been more controlled than it appeared. And listen, Youngboy himself wasn't convinced either. He responded publicly and made it clear that if J. Prince really wanted to help, there were better ways to reach out than putting it on the internet. He basically told him straight up to mind his business. And just like that, the situation only got more tense.
You got something for me? Man, they plenty around me you could call. Man, it's plenty ways you could get in touch with me. Man, don't get on no internet and do nothing publicly. And I'm good on the keys, gangster. When you buy cash, two keys come with the car anyway. Man,
J. Prince didn't hold back in his response. He went public and repeatedly referred to Youngboy as a dumb boy, making the tone very clear. He framed himself like an OG who stepped in to help a younger artist who didn't understand how to show respect. And then he escalated it further. He also brought up claims that Youngboy and his brother had previous connections to mob ties.
Kindness for weakness, because you're a dumb boy with limited thinking ability and disrespectful. Talking slick.
Connected to J. Prince Jr.'s circle, the message being pushed was pretty clear. People started reading it like there was existing history there, and now that history had flipped into something tense. But according to Youngboy, this didn't even start with the robbery situation. He had already been speaking on J. Prince long before June 2020, and he wasn't holding anything back. Youngboy publicly accused him of trying to pull him into a business-style setup, a situation where artists allegedly have to check in or pay just to move freely in certain cities. And he didn't soften it at all. He straight up called it extortion. So when his house got hit and J. Prince suddenly showed up claiming he recovered the stolen items, it didn't feel random to a lot of people anymore. Instead, it started looking like pieces of a much bigger puzzle. Youngboy never backed away from that stance, and people around him doubled down on it too. According to voices like 100 Haste, the whole situation may have been an attempt to pull the NBA camp under the mob ties umbrella, but instead of working, it completely backfired and blew up in the opposite direction.
Yo, play, go do this, bring it back. Let me use this to try to bring NBA into the mob.
He also made it clear that Youngboy isn't the type of artist who folds under pressure. According to him, Youngboy doesn't care about status or reputation. None of that really moves him. He's not easily intimidated, and if things get pushed too far, he's willing to take it all the way.
I'm not playing with that little nigga. Ain't no playing with him. He's serious as a top one out of all them niggas in his era. Whack hoop, NBA Youngboy going. That ain't no act he doing.
He'll crash out.
He's going to.
That reputation has followed him ever since, and by 2022, things only felt like they were heating up even more. Wack 100 even took it a step further and suggested that Youngboy might have handled the robbery situation in his own way behind the scenes.
He tried that shit with NBA Youngboy and got it.
Even suggesting that someone may have been killed in connection to it. Now that part is strictly alleged, but once it hit the internet, people ran with it anyway. Fans started trying to connect dots, breaking down lyrics and pointing at possible references in Youngboy's music, especially tracks like F the Industry Part 2 and certain freestyles where people claim they hear hints tied to the situation. Whether that interpretation is accurate or not, it kept the entire narrative alive. And this also connects to the more recent conversation surrounding the Prince family, especially J. Prince Jr. Over time, a certain storyline started forming around them, with critics saying they don't move like a typical music family, but something else entirely. J. Prince Jr. in particular has taken a lot of that attention. A lot of people believe he tends to be present when situations spiral out of control, like he ends up near chaos more often than coincidence would suggest. Two incidents people constantly bring up are Takeoff and Duke the Jeweler. Both situations involved late-night settings, dice games, rising tension, and then everything turning tragic. And in both cases, J. Prince Jr. was reportedly present at the scene. Now, to be clear, the Prince family has denied any involvement or wrongdoing in those incidents. They've maintained that their presence had nothing to do with how things unfolded.
I know people were associating me with that Duke the Jeweler situation because I went to Labusa pool party And he happened to be there, and he happened to be standing on me. I mean, right next to me. I never met him before. I had no idea who he is. I ain't even know he was a jeweler until after his past.
But a lot of people still aren't fully convinced. For many, it's not even about proving direct involvement. It's about the pattern they think they're seeing. And once people lock on to a pattern, the conversation spreads fast. An OG out of Atlanta even stepped forward publicly to warn artists about this whole checking in culture. His message was simple: stop depending on anyone like that when you land in a city. According to him, some of these so-called OGs aren't actually there to protect you. He told artists directly to bring their own security, control their own movement, and stop assuming someone else has everything handled. In his words, a lot of these situations fall apart because people trust the wrong setup. He warned that some of the "we got you" talk isn't real at all, and that's how situations can go left in seconds, turning into something nobody expected or could walk back. He even pointed to cases like Takeoff as examples people reference when discussing those risks. Even Wack 100 has been vocal on this topic as well, repeatedly cautioning artists about moving in Houston. He's told people to be careful around certain circles, including mentions of the Prince family in that broader conversation.
Entertainers, when you go to Houston, stay away from J. Prince Jr. There's a whole play going on.
Especially J. Prince Jr. And now the conversation only got louder after a more recent situation brought even more attention into the mix. It involves NBA YoungBoys affiliate NBA Ben 10, who was reportedly shot during an incident where J. Prince Jr. was also set to be present. This allegedly took place on April 8, 2026 at Confessions Restaurant and Lounge in Houston. Around 11:30 p.m., things inside the venue reportedly started to go sideways. What began as a confrontation quickly escalated into something much more serious. A Detroit rapper, All Star Jr., later claimed he was surrounded by multiple men. According to his account, the situation turned physical, he was pushed to the ground, and someone allegedly attempted to snatch his chain. And that's when everything completely spiraled out of control. Shots were fired inside the venue, and 2 people ended up getting hit. One of those victims was NBA Ben 10. He was reportedly struck multiple times in the torso and left in critical condition.
And had a confrontation with a couple guys. That altercation originally, it appears from what they were doing, was trying to take his chains. Now, sometime during that part of the fight, our victim, who was originally looked like he was being majorly assaulted by several people and getting his chains ripped off, he presents a pistol.
Another man, DeAndre Anderson, was also struck, taking bullets to his arms and legs. Both victims were rushed to the hospital by Houston police as the situation escalated quickly. And just like that, things went from chaotic to fully critical in seconds. Not long after, footage from the incident started spreading online, adding even more attention to the case.
And were hit. One of them is believed to be NBA Ben 10, according to family members. Both were taken to the hospital and remain in critical condition.
And All Star Jr. didn't waste any time telling his version of events. He immediately hit social media and called out J. Prince Jr. directly by name. He even posted pictures and made it clear he was claiming self-defense, saying he was only protecting himself from what he believed was an attempted robbery. Then, just a few days later on April 13th, he doubled down even harder. He released a track called Expensive Wristwatch and didn't hold anything back in it. The visuals and lyrics clearly pointed back to that night, and to make it even more direct, he tagged J. Prince Jr. during the rollout. That's when things really started heating up. All-Stars shooting Waters down asking for the boat numbers. Rumors started spreading that investigators were allegedly taking a deeper look into J. Prince Jr.'s involvement in the situation. Some reports even claimed authorities were examining whether he had any link to the attempted chain snatching that led to the shooting. According to insiders, tension was already building before the incident even happened. Word in the streets suggests J. Prince Jr. and All Star Jr. had quiet issues going on behind the scenes. The talk is that it stemmed from a woman, with claims that All Star Jr.'s baby mama was allegedly also connected to J. Prince Jr. That situation reportedly sparked friction, and people say it kept escalating until it finally blew up that night.
It's the reason why NBA Ben 10 got shot and almost killed earlier today. J. Prince Jr. been beefing with a local rapper from Detroit about his baby mama.
Of course, just like with other situations tied to his name, J. Prince Jr. has consistently denied any involvement in what happened. He's held that same position from the beginning and hasn't shifted off it. But at this point, a lot of people aren't even centered on his statements anymore. It's moved beyond one incident, or even two. It's become a broader pattern people think they're seeing. The streets are talking, the industry is watching, and the pressure around the Prince family keeps building. And now it's turning into something everybody is paying attention to, and it doesn't look like it's slowing down anytime soon.